The Philippines has a tropical maritime climate that is usually hot and humid. There are 3 seasons, a hot dry season from March to May, a rainy season from June to November, and a cool dry season from December to February. The southwest monsoon lasts from May to October and the northeast monsoon from November to April. Temperatures usually range from 21 C 70°F to 32 C 90°F. The coolest month is January, the warmest is May. The average yearly temperature is around 26.6 C 79.9°F. In considering temperature, location in terms of latitude and longitude is not a significant factor, and temperatures at sea level tends to be in the same range. Altitude usually has more of an impact. The average annual temperature of Baguio at an elevation of 1,500 meters (900 feet above sea level) is 18.3 C 64.9°F, making it a popular destination during hot summers. 249 annual rainfall measures as much as 5,000 millimeters 200 in the mountainous east coast section, but less than 1,000 millimeters 39 in some of the sheltered valleys. Sitting astride the typhoon belt, the islands experience 15-20 typhoons annually from July to October, with around 19 typhoons entering the Philippine area of responsibility in a typical year and 8 or 9 making landfall. Historically, typhoons were sometimes referred to as bagyos. The wettest recorded typhoon to hit the Philippines dropped to 210 millimeters 87 in Baguio from July 14 to 18, 1911. The Philippines is highly exposed to climate change and is among the world's 10 countries that are most vulnerable to climate change risks. The Philippines has a democratic government in the form of a constitutional republic with a presidential system. The president functions as both head of state and head of government and is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The president is elected by direct election for a single 6-year term. The president appoints and presides over the cabinet. The bicameral Congress is composed of the Senate, serving as the upper house, with members elected to a 6-year term, and the House of Representatives, serving as the lower house, with members elected to a 3-year term. Philippine politics tends to be dominated by those with well-known names, such as members of political dynasties or celebrities. Senators are elected at large while the representatives are elected from both legislative districts and through sectoral representation. The judicial power is vested in the Supreme Court, composed of a Chief Justice as its presiding officer and 14 Associate Justices, 264 all of whom are appointed by the President from nominations submitted by the Judicial and Bar Council. There have been attempts to change the government to a federal, unicameral, or parliamentary government since the Ramos administration. There is a significant amount of corruption in the Philippines, which some historians attribute to the system of governance put in place during the Spanish colonial period. As a founding and active member of the United Nations, the country has been elected to the Security Council. Carlos P. Romulo was a former president of the United Nations General Assembly. The country is an active participant in peacekeeping missions, particularly in East Timor. Over 10 million Filipinos live and work overseas. The Philippines is a founding and active member of ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It has hosted several summits and is an active contributor to the direction and policies of the bloc. It is also a member of the East Asia Summit, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Group of 24, and the Non-Aligned Movement. The country is also seeking to obtain observer status in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The Philippines has a long relationship with the United States, covering economics, security, and people-to-people relations. A mutual defense treaty between the two countries was signed in 1951 and supplemented with the 1999 Visiting Forces Agreement and the 2016 Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. The Philippines supported American policies during the Cold War and participated in the Korean and Vietnam Wars. In 2003, the Philippines was designated a major non-NATO ally. Under President Duterte, ties with the United States have weakened, with military purchases instead coming from China and Russia, while Duterte states that the Philippines will no longer participate in any U.S.-led wars. In 2021, it was revealed the United States would defend the Philippines, including the South China Sea. The Philippines attaches great importance to its relations with China and has established significant cooperation with the country. Japan is the biggest bilateral contributor of official development assistance to the country. Although historical tensions exist because of the events of World War II, much of the animosity has faded. Historical and cultural ties continue to affect relations with Spain. Relations with Middle Eastern countries are shaped by the high number of Filipinos working in these countries, and by issues related to the Muslim minority in the Philippines. Concerns have been raised regarding issues such as domestic abuse and war affecting the approximately 2.5 million overseas Filipino workers in the region. The Philippines has claims in the Spratly Islands which overlap with claims by China, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam. The largest of its controlled islands is Thicho Island, which contains the Philippines' smallest village. 315. The Scarborough Shoal standoff in 2012, where China took control of the shoal from the Philippines, led to an international arbitration case 316 and has made the shoal a prominent symbol in the wider dispute.